Is Battlefield 1 still worth buying or playing? In this video I'm going to give my opinion on Battlefield 1 nearly a year and a half after it was first released. All the DLC has dropped, and although DICE are still keen on bringing little updates, both in terms of new content and fixes to current issues, the game is clearly on the final stretch before the new game comes out later this year. The main question I will be attempting to answer is whether gamers who haven't actually bought BF1 should consider picking it up, and whether those players that have put the game down a while ago should come back and give it another shot. My experience of Battlefield 1 is from the PC side only, however I think a lot of it can be considered quite similar when playing on console, so this video should be useful for both sides. Starting off, let's take a look at cost. This is the big thing when picking up a game. Can you afford it? Is it worth picking up? From what I've seen, the game can be picked up for as little as £10, with the DLC costing at least another £10 on top of that. If you were to get it in a sale, I think the Revolution version of the game, that's the vanilla and the DLC wrapped up together, costs around £20 to £25, which when all things are considered is quite a fair price. I certainly would not recommend purchasing the game at full price in its current state, as it is often on sale and you can save yourself some money. When I look at whether a game has been worth the price I paid for it, I have to take two things into account. Firstly, how much time did I get out of the game? In the case of Battlefield 1, I currently have amassed 600 hours of playtime and will probably reach 800 by the time I'm done with the game. The second thing I need to look at is the quality of the product. Sometimes you'll play a game for a load of hours, but the product you're playing isn't actually that good. With Battlefield 1, no one can deny that there is a slick product there. It's very well put together. Whether you enjoy playing it or not, that's your own opinion, but you can't deny that it is a decent game and definitely worth the money, especially if you're picking it up on sale. So from that point of view, Battlefield 1 is definitely worth picking up if you can find it cheaply. The servers are still populated, the game is a lot of fun, and you can definitely get some decent hours out of it before the new game appears. Now some things that Battlefield 1 does really well, and we'll focus on the positive for the first part of this video. Visual quality, sound design. Both are perfect. Really fantastic stuff. Immersive, you're really going to enjoy it. It's possibly one of the only experiences you're going to get that put you closer to World War I. I know there are other games out there like Verdun that technically do this stuff better because they are closer to that World War I experience, but come on, it's a game. I like to sit down, relax and play a game. This AAA title from DICE is exactly that. When comparing it to other AAA games, you'll soon realise that Battlefield 1 is actually quite a polished product. Yes, it's got some bugs and stuff like that, but come on, all Frostbite games tend to. This one is decent. Compared to BF4, Battlefield 1 released with barely any bugs, and of course this is in comparison, Battlefield 4 released with absolutely tons of bugs, so the standards are fairly high. There are some things in the game that you will notice after playing it for a little bit where you're like, that is a bug, it needs fixing, but of course they still do have the CTE and they are trying to sort these things out. Do expect a few bugs, but of course the standards, as I mentioned, are high with this game, and you should be expecting a decent experience. As I previously mentioned, the theme. World War I is not easy to tie into an FPS game, especially when you're looking at a game that needs wide-scale battles over multiple locations, game modes and playstyles, infantry and vehicles, all sorts of engagement ranges. It's fairly complicated. DICE did a really good job with Battlefield 1. I don't think we'll see a game similar to this again in terms of the setting. World War I is very difficult to incorporate into a game. They took a gamble, it clearly paid off with the amount of copies they sold, but they've struggled with player retention. That could maybe be down to the type of decisions they've made in game. People aren't really as connected to World War I as they are to modern or maybe slightly futuristic games. We'll see when they bring out the next game, we'll see what sort of reaction they get from the player base. That being said, enjoy World War I while it's out, another reason to pick up the game. Now a couple of things that I don't really like in the game. In terms of its historical accuracy, if you're looking to pick this game up and you really want it to be historically correct, you're going to be slightly disappointed. Yes, there are some things which are really fun, but for example, some of the weapons are just not even close to how they were in World War I. The way that you play some of the maps, not even close to the sort of warfare you had back in 1918. Bugs, netcode and hitreg. The netcode is much improved, so is the hitreg from Battlefield 4, however not for everybody. Recently on PC they did have some patches and some people are experiencing some really bad issues. This also links into frame rate and the way the game runs. On console I don't think they've had any problems since they fixed that stuttering patch. BF1, I don't know, it's the same as BF4, sometimes on PC the game just doesn't run that well and I'm not sure what they can do about it, but I think this is a very isolated issue and not something you should worry about if you're going to pick up the game. Now a big one, Gunplay. This is something that's really debatable. Some people love it and some people hate it. That much is certain. Overall though, I think it's quite refreshing that DICE have taken a step to creating something new and dynamic in terms of infantry gameplay. The classes in Battlefield 1 now have specific roles, which has certainly spiced up gameplay and moved away from the burst fire meta that we saw in BF4. Is that burst fire meta so wrong? Well, personally, I love the gunplay in BF4. I wasn't that impressed with BF1 when I first started playing it, however after a few months and a patch or two by DICE, I did start to enjoy Battlefield 1. And I really did start to enjoy the SLRs in the medic class, the self-loading rifles. They are loads of fun and you can really work on your aim using these weapons and they're super effective. Learning the weapons and working out how to effectively play each class at each range was really satisfying for me, and it got me engaged in a game that I really thought I wouldn't enjoy at all. As I mentioned, the big saviour for me was that medic class. That class is really fun, and it's not only improved my FPS aim, but also brought hours of enjoyment along with it too. Linked into this you have the player movement. That is something I don't like in BF1. I think it is very floaty and not really something I enjoy at all. BF4 did player movement far better. And before someone yells the Zuzu jump and jumping meta of BF4 was terrible, do you really think that the knee sliding and AD spam of Battlefield 1 is any better? Battlefield 1 has the same amount of abusable tactics as BF4 did. Even after they've recently nerfed the slide, there are still ways to abuse these things in game. Battlefield 4 had a bit too much jumping, I will admit, but the speed and the character movement was far superior to what I've experienced in Battlefield 1. That being said, you can get used to it and everyone has to put up with the same problem in BF1, so you're kind of on the same playing field there. Still fairly enjoyable though. All in all, yes, you should buy Battlefield 1. Yes, you should play it. Should you look to buy it on sale? Definitely. I suggest getting the best deal you possibly can. Should you look to pick the game back up if you've put it down? Yes, 100%. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comments down below and leave a like. You can also let me know if you are looking to pick Battlefield 1 back up, and if you have any additional questions, leave them down below as well. I'll try my best to answer them. Battlefield 1 is a game that has given me a load of fun and is definitely worth picking back up. If you've put it down and not really put too many hours in, it's also worth picking up on sale if you can. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.